majority of the American people believe that Donald Trump started a war with Iran in order to distract from the Epstein files. What a devastating blow to the United States propaganda effort. The Epstein files have completely delegitimized the United States empire, and for good reason. Jeffrey Epstein was protected by United States institutions for decades. Jeffrey Epstein was also a big supporter of war against Iran, as leaked emails show his correspondence with former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak, where he complained about the Iran nuclear deal under Barack Obama. That's why referring to Donald Trump's war against Iran as the Epstein War has been an absolute banger by Iran and United States enemies. That's why the Washington Post and the Zionist-controlled corporate media is in full-blown panic mode over the American people, referring to this as the Epstein War. They even claim that anyone who causes Operation Epstein Fury is engaging in anti-Semitism. The anti-Semitism host gets more ridiculous every single day. And in order to prove everyone wrong who is calling this Operation Epstein Fury, the first thing the Trump administration does when he starts this war with Iran is bomb a school, murdering over 160 school children in the largest mass slaughter of children in recorded modern history. So the message that Donald Trump is sending to the world is not only does he rape children, he also bombs them.
Fam, imagine being that guy who pushes and advocates for a war for 40 years. Imagine you spend 40 years of your life pushing for a war that not only destroys your people and your country, but you don't even last 2 weeks. You don't even last 2 weeks for the war that you advocated for 40 years for. What's poppin'? What's poppin', my friends, my family? Welcome. We have a special Saturday edition of Nick at Noon. Nick at Noon is back. What's poppin', my friends? So we obviously going to cover these death rumors of Netanyahu that's taking the internet by storm. Also, you guys know I couldn't help myself. Zohran Mamdani is taking a lot of heat, probably more than he has ever. Because imagine being the kind of dipshit that actually condemns a baddie for her bashing Israel, for not even bashing Israel, but apparently liking posts of people she associates with that bash Israel. So we're going to get to Zohran later. This man condemned his wife in order to appease the Zionists. And spoiler alert, it's not even working. That's the funny part. It's just sad to see the left continue to fall for these psyops. So we're going to get to that here later. But I was skeptical about the Netanyahu death story. And this is what I'm going to get to this immediately. We may cover some Iran war updates. There are neocons in Washington that are panicking and laying out in very honest terms why we are losing the war in Iran. So we're going to get to the neocon meltdown and coping session as well. But at first, because we're in the fog of war, you can ask Zoe. I've been raging at people who post fake bullshit for likes, taking advantage of the fog of war, even if it's stuff that we like to hear, you know what I mean? But this Netanyahu story, I was very hesitant on reporting, even though I saw it. Apparently, there are a lot of foreign news outlets. Like there was outlets in the UK. Obviously, Iran, they was claiming that they sniped Netanyahu, but you guys know I'm rooting for the homies in Iran. I stand with the homies in Iran. But in the middle of this war, I'm gonna try to get my information from someone else. But people in Iran been claiming that they sniped Netanyahu. Middle Eastern outlets covered this. Here's a tweet that like these kind of tweets were spreading like wildfire, fam. Netanyahu was killed along with his brother and 6 generals. Bro, Iran has completely shattered the Iron Dome, and that, as I explained to you guys before, that was with the cheap shit. Iran was using that cheap shit and still shattered the Iron Dome, and now they're getting ready to bring out the big toys. They were sending texts to Israelis in Tel Aviv. They're like, hey, by the way, you got to know that this war haven't even started yet, really. Like, we're just getting started. You guys know that we can still do this for like 10 to 12 years without any interruptions. And now the Israeli people are broken. I did a segment, released, you guys see, I'm trying my best to release these little short videos, so you guys have to support them. That's what you guys wanted, right? But I'm releasing these edited videos from these live streams, and one I just released was showing how the Israelis, they are a mentally defeated people. Meanwhile, if you look at Iran, they over here fucking chanting as missiles rain down. They have a missile that rained down during one of the rallies, and they was chanting glory to Iran, death to America, in their own language, of course. So compare the mentality. There's also rumors, and I gotta say rumors I'm reading, about United States soldier revolts. The first time we are hearing anything like this since the Vietnam era. And you guys realize that soldier revolts in Vietnam didn't happen till the end. It's one of the reasons why we had to pull out. A lot of Americans, sweet summer children. I was one before. I was a child. I was a sweet summer American child before. A lot of these sweet American children at the tender age of 40, they think stuff like, hey, don't you know that we hit the streets and we protested in Vietnam and we made a big difference for the anti-war cause? Fam, your protest had nothing to do with why that Vietnam War ended. You guys know that, right? It took me some time to realize this too. They was losing on the battlefield and they were facing soldier revolts. And there's rumors that these soldier revolts are happening as we speak right now on U.S. bases. And there's so many soldiers that are appealing to leave the military and refuse to serve in Iran on conscientious objective status that is going to break morale and ranks. But once again, these are rumors. I got to be careful with reporting on this kind of stuff. So you have one side that is motivated because they killed essentially their pope, of people who not accepting any ceasefire, versus Israelis who are broken and now they lost potentially their leader. I have a great guest to break this stuff down, Momodou, who's so powerful the United States had to get rid of him. like great anti-imperialist analysis. I'm gonna bring him on in a second here. There was a lot of reasons for me to be skeptical about the Netanyahu being a smoke story. It was the AI video. I'm gonna show you. It was the AI video where I was like, okay, he might be fucking dead. Fucking Johnny Six Fingers over here. You got Benny Six Fingers missing teeth in his AI video. So this is a speculation stream, but there's a lot of solid evidence that even if Netanyahu did get smoked, let's say Netanyahu did get smoked, it is confirmed that they wiped out their generals, though. All right, let me read this, and I'll bring my guests in. How long is this video? Here we go. Let's watch this.
Right now, in one of the locations that was attacked, you can see just behind me, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who has visited this place. This is one of the locations where a deadly attack took place. 9 people were killed, and there were, in fact, more than 25 who were injured out here. You can see Netanyahu, in fact, visiting this particular location out here. And this is the latest that we are picking up in Bet Shemshesh, where, in fact, these are the...
So, fam, I don't know if it's true. I'm not telling you guys it's true. But do you understand what it would mean? And are Zionists prepared for the massive celebrations that will take place if Benjamin Netanyahu was confirmed dead? You had his brother, who was a Twitter ex addict, who tweeted 30 to 40 times every single day. We haven't seen this motherfucker in days. Netanyahu made no public appearances. They had to make an obviously AI video of him. Why would they do that? Look, it's been 5 days since Yair Netanyahu has posted to his X feed. Prior to that, he was tweeting 30 to 40 times per day. So I want to get their commentary on it. We have an activist, student organizer, I would say geopolitical analyst and reporter as well. We had you on before. It's been a while, but it's great to have you back. Momodou, thank you for joining us today.
Hello, Nick. So good to have me on again. Hope you're well. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's great to be back in conversation with you, and I'm definitely interested in getting your thoughts on current events in Iran. There's a ton to speak about, but first I want to get your thoughts. Like, are you buying the Netanyahu death rumors? If it's true, I'm telling you guys, if it's true, it will go down as a modern holiday. It will unite humanity in a way we never seen before. But what are your thoughts, just to get us started, Momodou? Thank you for joining us.
I mean, we're in the holy month of Ramadan, and I'm just waiting for Eid to come. So if it's announced that he has been vaporized, it will definitely be our Eid. But I'm holding off. I have seen the rumors. I have seen picking up traction online, but I'm gonna wait for confirmation because I just know, again, as you said, what this means. And again, it's not to say that, again, we have to move away from the kind of liberal Netanyahu's war. No, Israel is the whole problem. But, you know, this is someone that has waged war for the last 40 years against peoples in this region and has taken such pride in waging war and killing Muslims and has been satiated by the blood of Muslims. For him to go out, if he went out, of course, it will be a cause of celebration for everyone. But I kind of say, you know, let's just wait until we hear some confirmation.
Yeah. In the fog of war, I told you guys in our last stream to be very careful about the information, even if it sounds like good information. And we know that Netanyahu, if anything, is one of the moderates in the Likud party, the party for genocidal Jewish supremacists. And I'm obviously very excited. You guys can tell by just even the thought of this news. But I don't want you guys to be dumbed down. We all understand that Netanyahu is just one guy. We're not here to repeat Bernie Sanders bullshit, the Netanyahu government. So we understand that even Netanyahu was smoked out. That won't change the nature of the Zionist regime. But, now this is why I'm going to add a but to this. The invincibility that these war criminal Israeli, the aura of invincibility, that being shattered is devastating to the Israeli conscience.
Exactly.
So I'm not saying that's everything, but it's something. And also, maybe this is me being more spiritual with this take here, but I think that humanity needs the death of someone like Netanyahu in order to heal. Because think about the alternative. I think about the alternative. Think about the stain on humanity if Netanyahu was allowed to live. Like, think about the stain on humanity if Hitler was allowed to live. Like, he needed to smoke himself, allegedly, if humanity was going to move on. Does that make sense, guys? But
it makes. But it's also very important, right? Given the nature of the conversation today about Iran, for the Israelis and the US, when the only thing you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So for them, all they know is about decapitation strikes, right? They've taken out Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah, taken out Yahya Sinwar, they've taken out Ayatollah Khamenei, for Sayyid Ali Khamenei. And again, they think, okay, we take out these people, the country collapses. Because that is according to their own logic, right? So yes, according to their own logic, it becomes internally consistent. You take out Netanyahu and the project collapses. But they don't realize that those who are living in Iran, those who are Shia Shia theologically, they operate according to different logic, right? Even yesterday, the heads of Hezbollah, Sheikh Naim Qasim, said, "I've heard Netanyahu is threatening to assassinate me." I don't think you realize when you talk to a people who have been raised on not just not being afraid of death because they believe in God's promise, but rather it's martyrdom is something they seek. These people seek martyrdom, and I think this becomes utterly incomprehensible to an Epstein class who is involved in child sacrifices, pedophilia, child trafficking. Because when you're involved in that class and your subjectivity is formed by those kind of acts, the subject that is produced is someone whose heart is attached to this world, who only believes in this world and believes that this world is everything. But you are confronting a people who do not operate by that logic, right? They've killed Ghassan Kanani. They have tried throughout Israel's entire existence. They have tried decapitation strikes of leaders, and that has not yielded the results in which they thought they would do by breaking down the morale of the resistance. Of course, these leaders are big people. I mean, I cried, right, when Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah passed away, when he was assassinated. But Hezbollah, who everyone thought were defeated, fired 100 salvo rockets into Israel, into occupied territories recently, right? So I just say that to say, that these people are operating by a different logic. So yes, whilst we wait for BB's confirmation, and I think on your point about the W though, of course, like I'm like, don't threaten me with a good time, guys. Don't threaten me. I'm already like, and again, I feel like, you know, as you said, the world, like we need, I think for so many of us in the anti-imperialist section, of course, we're not spreading defeatism, but we have to, you know, as Gramsci will say, pessimism of the intellect and optimism of the will. We have to take stock. You know, we've taken a lot of losses, right? Anti-imperialist movement, Venezuela, right? Cuba, right? The West Asia, Arab-Iranian region, the genocide, right? So of course we need a win, and I can't think of a better W than Netanyahu being vaporized.
Very well said. Very well thought out response. And that's what I was mentioning. I was mentioning like just the massive healing potential that humanity needs. Once again, that's not an anti-imperialist analysis. I wouldn't say that it is. It's not dismantling the Zionist state. It's more spiritual. It's more like looking out for the future of humanity. Like, because there's already like this massive uniting, like to a point I never seen before. Like the amount of people cheering for Iran. Yep. Iran is about to be the most popular state we have ever seen in modern human history, fam. You guys understand? Especially if this news is true. Wow. Imagine being like one of those whores dancing in the Iranian diaspora, cheering for your people to be bombed, trying to make your state out to be a pariah, only for them to be the most popular country later because people see them fighting this extremely just war against the Epstein class. I don't know if you saw the hotspot video. I played it in my intro. The ruling class is panicking over the people in the West, people in Iran, people all around the world calling this Operation Epstein Theory. Like, we know who you guys are now. We see through you. And the amount of aura that United States soldiers lost ever since the Epstein files released. You can make an argument that never should have had it. But it's like, bro, we know who you guys are. We know who you're serving. It's to the point where there are people on the right, like Candace Owens, who is repeating stuff that I've been saying for years now about the United States military. Well, like, you guys need to stop fighting for these fucking pedophiles in our ruling class, and there's nothing honorable about that. I don't want to hear about any poverty drafts. I don't want to hear about any of that bullshit. We know who you're serving. We know what your job and your role is. Now, before I continue, actually, I'm going to read some super chats first before I get too behind. But do you have anything you want to add before I move on?
No. I just said that again. This is the ruling classes, as you correctly said, are panicking, right? There's a split, right, amongst even those who are MAGA, right? Like, what do we? Again, I disagree fundamentally with the likes of Candace Owens and Marjorie Taylor Greene, but the question becomes, what has happened that these people, at least ostensibly, look like voices of reasons on some topics, right?
Yeah, very well said. I think this is a pretty valid pushback. This is my friend Ann Garrison. The protests against Vietnam, I'm interested in seeing what she says here. The protests against the Vietnam War weren't insignificant. The fragging was ultimately the most significant in finally ending it. But the protests in GI coffee houses that activists opened up made it easier for them to rebel. People opened their homes to sailors jumping ship and soldiers deserting. Pretty solid pushback. I think this is a great comment. I think I was making fun of the people who think the Vietnam, and I think you acknowledged this in your comment, like the people who believe that was the reason. Like, that's not the only reason. It may play a part. I think this is a legitimate point here, but it was more because of the tactical defeats the United States soldiers were pushing, and the American people seeing their soldiers come back in those dead goy boxes. That's a big deal as well. They didn't give a fuck about the war until they saw the people come back dead. It's all these combinations that which led to end. But thank you for your comment, Ann. That's a friend of mine. This is the moment where I started questioning shit. We're gonna get to more substantive discussion on the Iran soon. But look at fucking Johnny Six Fingers here. He also, if you look at all the, I'm gonna look at the Netanyahu AI tab because everyone immediately clocked this shit. Like, bro, this video you posting is obviously AI, and there's also this glitch that happens to your teeth in AI, where like your teeth disappears. Your teeth also change structure. Like our teeth is usually consistent. Our teeth doesn't change. But in AI videos, one of the way you can catch it, and whether a video is fake or not, their teeth either missing or it changes structure over and over again. So, and people watch this video like, bro, why does man's mouth look like that? What's going on with this man's fingers? So this was the moment where I was like, okay, guys, I think he might have got fucking smoked. This and the fact that his brother stopped tweeting, that is when I know, like, okay, these are two facts that it is getting my optimism up. But even if Netanyahu isn't there, we can celebrate this, right? Because Iran is decolonizing the Middle East. Yep. And there are bloodthirsty, genocidal Jewish supremacists that are being smoked out by the Iranian regime. And this is why Iran will be the beacon of humanity in the most popular country for generations to come. Do you see this? Look, Ashkenazi Chief Rabbi Israel David Meir Bar. Bro, and I will see videos of this guy. He is like one of the most batshit crazy motherfuckers you guys will ever come across. Wow. He believes that like non-Jews have dirty animal souls and people who are Jews are allowed to do whatever they want to the Gentiles. Disgusting person. We just scratching the surface on who this guy is. Like in this tweet, they said he called for the destruction of Gaza. That's putting it lightly, fam. Like that's putting it very lightly. So, I don't know. I expect everyone to be like happy when people get snuffed out, like I am. But I think humanity benefits from people like this being gone. I'm not a pacifist. I've explained that many times before. If you're a pacifist, that's good for you. That's your life choice. But I think humanity benefits for when people like this get snuffed out. So even if Netanyahu isn't dead, we can celebrate the fact that people like this is dropping like flies, and we're just getting started. Momodou, any other thoughts before I continue?
No, please carry on.
You guys want to see one of the worst age takes if confirmed? And bro, you want to know how badly this aged immediately? And another reason why the corporate establishment is sweating, because you notice how they changed they edited the title of this article. I noticed that because I saved this article, but if you click on it, look, a different title. So they edited it. So the first title they put out there was and it was written by some Jewish supremacist motherfucker. Any way you look at it, Netanyahu wins. So the whole article is painting how Netanyahu is the big winner of the Iran war. And then these death rumors start coming out. So immediately afterwards, they changed the title of the article.
A war for one man.
So, because if you have an article saying that Benjamin Netanyahu is a major victor of a war, and then it comes out that he was just smoked, yeah. that doesn't look well, doesn't it? So this is the New York Times article, War for One Man, and look at who wrote this. Just look at her. You can already tell she about to say some crazy ass shit, right? And this is the kind of stuff that is published in the New York Times. I made about 3 paragraphs in. I was actually interested in seeing her argument when I saw this article, because she's making an argument that Benjamin Netanyahu is the big winner. In the first 2 paragraphs, look, she said, Mr. Netanyahu does not need a clean victory. For the sake of time, I'm going to sum up her arguments in the first 2 paragraphs here. She's saying that even if Israel gets dismantled, even if U.S. bases get destroyed, at least he has been proven right about the threat of Iran. That's essentially the argument. So she's saying Netanyahu's propaganda has been proven to be legitimate, and the people of Israel and people around the world will rally behind them. Well, the problem is the reason why Iran is quote unquote a threat is because you guys attacked them first. And now they're teaching you a lesson. So to try to twist this as a propaganda victory, like, oh, well, does this prove that we was right about Iran? You know, the people that we slaughtered, all their school children? But let me read this part here, because this right here, look at this. For all these reasons, any day after scenario is a win for Netanyahu. This is what being printed in American corporate media. If Iran capitulates under military pressure, he can say that force succeeded where diplomacy failed. If Iran refuses but emerges militarily weaker, he can say that Israel bought time by degrading the country's nuclear and missile capacities. If the Iranian government survives but is bloodied, isolated, and more consumed by internal tensions, he then can claim that he neutered an implacable foe. What? So you guys see how neocons and Jewish supremacists in the corporate media, they're ready to declare victory for Israel in the West no matter what happens. The only bad thing about this article is that Netanyahu got smoked, so they got to change the title of it. But Momodou, feel free to chime in if you have any thoughts.
I was going to say they need an off-ramp, clearly, right? Because, again, this has been a strategic blunder on the behalf of Israel and the United States. And it's absolutely has become abundantly clear that they have no off-ramp. They have no exit strategy, right? The Iranians, the Islamic Republic of Iran, is not willing to negotiate, has set out the conditions. They're playing chess. So it's so interesting. In these comments that 3 points she makes, right, it's a win for Netanyahu. What she doesn't consider is what happens if all the Gulf countries rethink their realignment with the United States security apparatus. What happens when oil goes through the roof? What happens if there's a state of economic collapse globally? What happens when people decide that actually Russia and China are better strategic partners and more reliable? Like, again, it's such the way in which the places like New York Times, which I'm actually boycotting, right? I'm a boycott. But the way in which New York Times manufactures consent, that is their role since time immemorial, right? They are there in the Gramscian sense to sow and create and reproduce hegemony, right? But again, that for me, when I read that, I don't see that as a sign of strength. I see that as a sign of weakness.
Me too. Yeah. Why you guys think I love showing you guys this kind of stuff? This is pure panic and pure cope. If you're interested, this article is hilarious. We don't got a ton of time, but it's just pure Zionist cope. It's just pure Zionist cope over what's the only thing you can only define this war as the great decolonization of the Middle East by Iran.
Yep.
Israel and the United States being revealed as paper tigers, and she's spinning it as a win. But I think I can move on. I can break down this article all day, but I want to show you guys a few more things regarding what Trump and how Trump and MAGA is selling this war now, because the polling on this war is absolutely disastrous, even among Donald Trump's own base. And this is the messaging that is now coming out of the White House. According to the White House, they're now waging war with Iran in order to liberate gay people now.
I was a bit shocked too. Like, everyone else in the world was like, this is the greatest thing. And I think what you're doing is phenomenal. And I was shocked that so many activists like in America didn't like it. But meanwhile, they're like, oh, well, we support women. We want women to have all these rights.
Jake Paul, famous feminist now. We know Jake Paul, he's famous. He's famous for his feminist ideology. Isn't it funny how these Western chauvinist males always become feminists the second they start talking about Iran? But go ahead, Momodou now.
Well, it's just so frustrating, this discourse, right? Because I keep saying materially, what is more oppressive and repressive to women, right? Killing hundreds of schoolgirls, having a country sanctioned in a place wherein baby formula and sanitary pads become difficult to purchase, right? Iran has some of the most highest literacy rates amongst women in the world. If you look into the universities, there are far more female professors in many universities than there are males. So again, it's like, what is more repressive, right? Legislation that speaks about mandating hijab, for example. And again, there's much more detail to that conversation. It's not as easy as that. Or killing women, right? And again, this ironically about the gays situation, people might not be aware of this, but do you know from like the 80s and 80s, Iran has had a law that allows sex change for free, right?
Interesting.
So people don't even play. People like, again, people, I keep telling people, because of the way in which Islamophobia is weaponized, they don't even know the kind of actual on the ground realities as it comes to questions of gender. And even I find it smacks in the face of irony when you see that in 1953, when Mossadegh is overthrown in Iran, he was a progressive, left adjacent, at least, president of the country. Right, he believed in nationalization, and what happened? The US overthrew him and the CIA. So then when the people now opt for an Islamic-based government, which is their right to do so, they're equally condemned. Again, these are not, the battle is not thought along the lines of ideology per se. Yes, ideology plays a part, but the material question is, and I'm thinking of my mentor, Dr. Bikram Gill, when he says that the Islamic Republic Revolution 1979 comes at a time where it seems like US is becoming uncontested in its power. Israel wins the 1973 Six-Day War against Egypt and the Arab states, right? It becomes a point of like the Arab states move from a position of hostility to a position of cooperation and coexistence with the Israeli state, right? The reason, and then again, we have Israel trying to march through the region and rearrange the region according to its own interests. We see what happens in Lebanon, in Syria, etc. It is at that moment that the 1979 revolution of Iran presents such a problem, as Dr. Bikram Gill will say, because it presents a new challenge to what is seemingly, which Francis Fukuyama will soon say, the end of history, right? We're approaching the end of history, and the Islamic Republic of Iran presents a bulwark against that, and it offers a new direction and possibility for the region. So that's why it's just frustrating hearing these things like, you know, the same country right now in the United States that's actually waging war against trans people, right? The same country that is waging war about on these issues of LGBTQ, right? I don't think LGBTQ people feel safe, particularly feel safe in this United States. So to say it's being done, but we see this time and time again, right? Women's rights, human rights, right? These are all ways in which consent is manufactured. That's it.
This is why I told you guys that I consider MAGA people to be liberals too. Like neoliberal ideology dominates the West because and I'm gonna finish the clip. I'm gonna show the whole clip. With they sound like feminists. They supporting gay rights, and they use that to legitimize their imperialism. They want an OnlyFans revolution in Iran. They are. Jake Paul is upset because he's not allowed. He doesn't see Iranian women having OnlyFans accounts. They're not allowed to have OnlyFans accounts in their country. That's the only metric they use in terms of speaking about women's rights. Yep. And like if you watch CNN, MSNBC, which I told you guys countless times before, their propaganda is just as deranged as the right-wing media. Because there was like this show called The Weekend on MSNBC or whatever. They have some liberal neocon motherfucker like, I can't believe progressives are defending Iran. Don't you know women not allowed to go outside without a man? They still repeating this Islamophobic bullshit. You know, and Jon Stewart, I didn't have a chance to do a segment on him, and also he always get you in trouble for copyright if you bash him. But he did a whole thing about Khomeini where he smeared him as some crazy Islamist. Like it's like this intense liberal Islamophobia where they still pretend that women are not even allowed to go outside in Iran. Meanwhile, they're the most highly educated women on earth, and you did a great breakdown of that. But think about how we treat women in this country. And I talk to people on the left and on the right on this. Like, how is it pro-woman, for example, to force them to work after they have children?
Exactly.
How is it pro-woman if you put families in a position where they have to have two breadwinners?
Yeah.
Where a mother don't have the choice, don't have even the option to stay at home with their child because they're under economic assault by the capitalist class. You guys see how these are ideas that the liberal class are. They're not even sophisticated enough to even think about these kind of things. Exactly. The fact that a mother or a woman can go into medical bankruptcy in the United States because they have a child. Have you guys seen how much it costs to have children in the United States? How is that a pro-woman policy? And once again, I went even in a different direction. You can talk about education, all the other stuff, but even looking at conservative values alone, because I can just discuss these things using liberal value, conservative values. I thought you guys were the pro-family people. But you guys are making it hard for young people to create families because you support cocksuckers like Jeff Bezos and the Walton family waging class war on the American working class and on American women. So you can't become, and this is my ideology personally, you're not pro-woman unless you're embracing class war. Marxism is the greatest expression of what it means to be pro-woman. That's why I disavow Western feminist bullshit. The best thing you can do for a woman is liberate the working class, to put them in a position where they can raise and thrive with their family, to make it so their daughters have a thriving family. Everything else is liberal bullshit. Anyway, we only got a few seconds into this clip. Let's finish it. I get some more thoughts because we didn't even get to Trump yet. Here, Jake Paul, still suffering from Anthony Joshua. You can tell his jaw still kind of slightly disfigured. Jake Paul, the famous feminist. This is amazing.
I was a bit shocked too. Like everyone else in the world was like, this is the greatest thing. And I think what you're doing is phenomenal. And I was shocked that so many activists like in America didn't like it. But meanwhile, they're like, oh, well, we support women. We want women to have all these rights. Meanwhile, you're liberating the women of Iran. And then they have an issue with it. I thought that was very confusing.
We support gays, but they throw gays off the buildings.
Yeah.
Okay, we support this. I mean, the things they do, and they're fighting. But I think I have tremendous support on this. This is something that's been incredible. I have the best poll numbers I've ever had now.
Yeah.
And it's not because of this. I think we've just, the economy is great. It's a little bit of we take a little winding road for a little while, but we have to wipe out the evil. It's an evil curse. They're evil people.
So, Momodou, Donald Trump is telling his base that he's sending Marines over there to die in Iran in order to liberate the gays.
I just challenged someone to bring me evidence where gay people are thrown off buildings. Like, I really want to know where that is the case, because they say the same thing about Palestine and Palestinians, right? And queer Palestinians, right? And this is not to say that, there isn't homophobia in these countries, right? But at the same time, we know on the record, and I have friends who have PhDs and are doing dissertations on this topic, that if someone is identifies as queer, Mossad blackmails them to become informants.
Wow.
This is documented. I can even send. I can send research. This is.
No, I believe it. That's interesting.
Yeah. So what Mossad will do, Mossad will say, if you don't become an informant, we will expose you for being homosexual in this society. And the irony being, it was Hamas who actually said, if you identify as queer and you have been targeted by Mossad to become an informant or collaborator, come to us and we will confess your crime and we will not punish you for it because we know who you are, right? Wow. That's what actually happened, not this kind of fantastic bullshit that is wrapped up in Islamophobia because it suits a narrative and people just readily accept it because again, they already have a confirmation bias, right? Or we know this is something that apparently Muslims do, therefore it must be true because this is an Islamic country. But we know it's bullshit.
Yeah, and that's why I spend my time. I devote a large part of my life debunking this propaganda because it's disgusting to me. And the reason why people believe it without any evidence, because you guys see how they don't bring up any evidence, that's just the intense, I would say overall racism of the American people. That's why they believe anything told about their enemies. Yeah, of course, those dirty Iranians throw gay people off roofs. The same way they believe anything they told about North Korea, because of course those dirty North Koreans are savages. The same way they believe everything they told about African country. And I've been spending years trying to deprogram the American people who are brainwashed by imperialism, which relies on this white supremacy. You guys see, that's why we say it relies on white supremacy and Jewish supremacy, because you need to believe that these people are lesser than people that come from European or Western societies. Because if you didn't believe they was lesser, you would be more skeptical about these stories. Why do you believe that Kim Jong-un fed his family to dogs when there's no documented evidence of that? The reason why white people believe that is because they're like, yo, of course the fucking Koreans would do that. You guys see how even if you're a liberal, it takes a certain amount of supremacist and racist ideology to even sell imperialism.
Exactly.
We gotta liberate the black and brown savages. That's why liberals and Democrats tend to support imperialism in Africa, in Iran. We gotta liberate and govern the browns for themselves.
Yeah.
If you believe these people are equal, you wouldn't even begin to accept these talking points. That's why I couldn't be even more disconnected than American culture now I am, because I hear the stuff they say about other countries, and it's absurd to me. My heart is warm now because a lot of people turned around on North Korea and the Kim Jong-un. But fam, you guys remember a few years ago when I came on my videos about North Korea, and people were like, whoa, what? People were shocked, though. People decolonize your mind. Don't believe anything the Western Empire tell you about these other countries, because it takes Western chauvinism for you to even believe it.
Yeah.
The stuff they say. Go ahead, Momodou.
Like you said, Nick, though, like, for example, we had all these Zionists online saying that Iran is using cluster weapons and they're violating international law, and they are, this is a great violence and etc. And I'm just like, ostensibly, yes, it's hypocritical, but you're like, how can you have rubbished every single multilateral institution like the UN and others, right? You've bombed UN buildings and facilities and killed UN staff. And then you have the goal to say that international law should be protected now. At first glance, you're thinking, okay, they're just hypocrites, which they are. But deeper than that, you have to understand that international law in its foundation, as has been written by Sibo Grovegi, Anthony Angie, and others, that international law has colonial origins, and it is to reproduce white supremacy on a planetary scale. So it makes sense internally. Of course, international law should protect us, white folk, white supremacists, Jewish supremacists, but it shouldn't protect those. That's why it was such a shock that the ICC came out, because again, what did the no-named American officials say? The ICC was established to arrest and prosecute Africans and Arabs, right?
Yes.
ICC, the most people that have been taken to the ICC are African leaders, right? So that's why it's a shock. But then again, this is internally consistent with the project itself, because at its origin, the purpose of international law is to reproduce white supremacy on a planetary scale. That's it. So it makes sense why the Zionists can say, this is breaking international law, but when we did it, it wasn't. It was in line because we uphold the law because the law is for us. And that's how it works in the United States as well, internally.
Very well said. We're going to begin to wrap up the Iran segment. I'm going to show you guys a few things, because this war has gone awful for Donald Trump. Why do you guys think he has to go on PR tour saying that they're doing it for the gays now? Like, there's so many different reasons they gave. Donald Trump put out this long truth social. I don't really feel like do you guys really want me to read this? Because this is just pure fucking cope. I was about to, but we're running low on time. It's essentially him promising countries that they're going to secure the Straits of Hormuz. And then he asked for help from China. Because that's what you do when you're confident that you're winning a war. You beg for help from your adversary.
Yeah.
So this Trump and his team know they're fucking completely washed. They know that they have no means to open the Straits of Hormuz, especially now they got mines. And there are military analysts who explain that the only way they can even get those mines cleared is they need the entirety of the United States Navy. Because not only do you need to clear the mines, you need to consistently guard these ships. It's mission impossible. And countries are already bailing. So Trump is in cope mode. But this is how you know this war is going bad. And I'm going to show a few more things. I want to get your thoughts on how you think this war is going. Whether you think I'm right or wrong. If you disagree, that's okay as well. Because I think Iran is doing way better than even I expected. Like I said, I warned of the dangers of going to war with Iran. But it's amazing to me that Iran looked at all of their allies and like, don't worry about this, bro. I'm about to solo the United States fucking empire. They're soloing Israel and the United States. Once again, when I pass to you, feel free to let me know if you agree or disagree with my takes here. This is one of the reasons, like my friend Alan Mizrahi, he explains this is why he believes Iran is winning this war decisively, which is why I believe as well. European countries are already beginning talks with Tehran to negotiate an agreement for a safe passage. Bro, they are breaking in less than 2 weeks. They're already breaking ranks. That's how you know things are going bad. And you guys should read this thread by Chris Murphy. he's like the standard Western neocon. He wrote this long thread lamenting the fact that the United States is getting their ass whooped. He's like, hey guys, I'm a United States senator. I'm on the Armed Service Committee. I saw a lot of declassified information that Trump is not sharing with you guys, that I'm not allowed to share with you guys. But let me show you guys my thoughts. We were getting our ass beat, and let me share why. he lays out all the crises, and I was actually amazed reading this thread, Momodou, because it's really rare when you see like empire puppets like Chris Murphy admit United States losses. But that's how politically damaging this Iran war is. Crisis. I'm gonna sum this thread up just really quickly. He's explained crisis one, how we can't stop the Straits of Hormuz. There's no plan to reopen the Straits. There's no plan to protect these tankers. Like he just this thread explain how all this miscalculation by the United States military. He said crisis number two, we can destroy Iran's missiles, but not all of their drones. In war today is drone warfare. Iran can hit oil sites in the region indefinitely because they possess so many cheap weaponized drones. These are things that the Trump administration and Israel never even accounted for.
Yeah.
He continued. Look, crisis three. I'm going through this quickly. Crisis three: a broader regional war is breaking out as Iranian not Iranian proxies. These are people who are part of the resistance who is liberating the regime from the United States imperialism, like in Bahrain. But you guys see, this isn't even how the neocons spin it. Look, a regional war is breaking out as Iranian proxies in Lebanon hit Israel. But fam, why would you need to be an Iranian proxy? Why would you need to be paid and sponsored by Iran to fight against Israel in Lebanon when they're slaughtering your fellow brothers and sisters? They're slaughtering children. You don't need a foreign motive. This is why I'm upset with that phrasing, but this is the Democrat neocon. So this is a long thread where he explains why Iran is getting fucked up. So Momodou, to wrap this segment up, what do you think? What are your predictions for the future of this war? Do you think Iran is doing well? Do you agree or disagree with my analysis here? What do you think? Who do you think is being victorious in this war thus far? As we wrap the segment up here.
Yeah, I mean, I think fundamentally, predictions are. It's very difficult to make predictions, right? But I think fundamentally, for me, the odds are greatly in favor of Iran's victory. I tell you why. Because by which metric are we to judge asymmetric warfare? For Iran, it just means as long as they survive state collapse, they've won. Everything that comes from surviving state collapse means possibly negotiating better deals, as in sanction relief, right? Talking about the enrichment of uranium, for example, in their countries for energy purposes, right? I think fundamentally what has this moment exposed, I find it difficult to see how the US can claim victory from this. Because what does a victory look like? As long as the Islamic Republic of Iran stays intact and the government is still in place, I think it's a victory for the Iranian Republic. And what's happened after that? People moving towards China. There's even a report. I'm not too sure on the veracity as of yet, but some Al Jazeera reporting it, CNN reported it, that Iran's saying that ships will be able to move through the Straits of Hormuz if they trade in yen, for example, in Chinese currency, for example, right? How did now the GCC countries now renegotiate their relationship to America, right? I think this is a colossal fuck up for the United States of America. And again, I don't know how it's going to end. And obviously, again, knowing that these Western powers are, for me, genocidal and maniac, I don't know if they're going to think of using tactical nukes, etc. But I think even in that case, that backfires because, again, Russia and China are watching, right? Russia and China are watching, thinking how far they're going to go. And I think it's absolutely clear. I know, last thing I would say is that there's a lot of people on the left who talk about why did China and Russia abstain from the vote in the UN condemning Iran. First and foremost, I would say that Iran and China also abstained in 2022, condemning the vote on Russia's special military operation, right? And furthermore, I would say the UN is a diplomatic sideshow. That does not highlight strategic alliances and goals. It's undoubtedly that China is providing strategic depth for Iran right now, and that's the material question. So I don't know where we go. I don't know what happens. You never underestimate the enemy. But so far, I think, as you said, I knew Iran was a strong power, but they have exceeded my expectations.
That's very, very well said. I'm glad you actually brought that up. I didn't have time to sneak a segment about that in, but there's all these like professional managerial class people that annoys me. And I strongly condemn in the strongest term China and Russia, and they're voting the UN. It's like, you fucking dipshit. The UN doesn't even mean anything. It's just a political entity. Like, exactly. Russia providing intelligence for Iran, targeting intelligence, China providing components and needs for ballistic missiles. That means way fucking more than some stupid ass UN vote. So there's all these professional managerial class idiots who put way too much stock in the UN. And those days should have died after the genocide in Gaza. Anyway, that's a conversation for a whole nother day. I have one more quick segment for you today. I don't want to take too much more of your time. I have to hear your thoughts on Zohran. Because I warned people about Zohran. He went viral because this man condemned his own motherfucking wife, guys. I don't know what am I supposed to say. Bro, I told you guys it's only going to get worse. Remember when I said that? It's not going to get better. It's only going to get worse. He hired Jessica Tisch. He is promoting and legitimizing the anti-Semitism hoax that is used to implement fascism in New York. And now apparently his wife, she associated some tweets of people celebrating victories of the Palestinian resistance. A base Palestinian writer who claimed that Zionists are rats. Actually, I don't want to misquote her. Let's just say she insulted Zionists.
I think she called them parasitical.
Yeah, parasitical. Thank you for the correction. She called them parasitical Zionists. So a bunch of desperate Jewish supremacists in New York try to use this as a media attack on Zohran. And I was lightly following the story. I've seen it on and off. I didn't think it was going to be a big deal. I'm like, okay, you guys are really that desperate to attack Zohran if you guys attacking his wife for some shit that she liked on social media years ago. But then this motherfucker, right as I thought this attack on Zohran was extremely ineffective and it showed how petty his enemies are, Zohran falls to them. I'm thinking that, you're in a strong position here. You essentially do what Will Smith says to Chris Rock. You do a press conference. You say, you keep my wife's name out your motherfucking mouth. That's the only thing you say if you're Zohran Mamdani in this situation. Keep my wife's name out your motherfucking mouth. That's the only thing you say. Meanwhile, he condemned his wife to appease ruthless Zionists.
Rhetoric before she took that job, and do you think that type of rhetoric is acceptable about him?
I think that rhetoric is patently unacceptable. I think it's reprehensible. And as is common for freelance illustrators, the First Lady was commissioned to illustrate an excerpt of a book by a third party. She's never engaged with or met with the author, nor had she seen the tweets that you're referring to. And we stand in our administration, and I can tell you our administration, which is separate from the First Lady, as she doesn't have a role within it, against bigotry of all forms. And we do so unflinchingly because every single New Yorker deserves a place that they can call home without having to be wary of being their full self when they do so.
Imagine condemning a baddie for bashing Israel.
I just think it's frustrating that after all this time, right? And again, Zohran, I think, he came off the back of a pro-Palestinian position, which has subsequently been dampened considerably. He's thrown many people under the bus. I think I do wonder, his own father has said that Palestinians have a right to resist. Mahmoud Mamdani, the great Mahmoud Mamdani, Pan-Africanist scholar. And I wonder, at which point is he going to condemn his father? But furthermore, I would say what's frustrating is it seems to me that as intelligent as he is, he has not learned the lessons of you never give an inch to Zionists. Nothing you do can placate them. Nothing you do can make you agree with you. Nothing you do can make them agree with you. Nothing you do will make them think you're reasonable and rational, because fundamentally they believe you're less than human. They believe the only world in which is allowed, the only world that should be allowed, is a world in which Jewish people are supreme. That's it. So I don't understand. Once you realize that, and I hope people begin to realize that, like, you just can't care anymore. Like, they're gonna call you anti-Semitic no matter what you do. So to throw your wife under the bus, and also Suzanne Abul Hawa, the actual illustrator, who's a brilliant artist and scholar, Palestinian, and who's very well known, to throw them under the bus, all in the sense of trying to appease some Zionists, is hugely disappointing. But I guess at the same time, you can only be disappointed if you have expectations.
Yeah, that's very well. That's very well said. It's disgusting. The way he throws the Palestinian movement under the bus, and I think the only thing I would add to what you say, and one thing I'm correcting a few people on, because this is more for the Zohran supporters, because there's a lot of cope. Because this is one of the things that ignited fury. Like, there's a few things that Zohran did where even his supporters like, oh fuck, you guys just gave Nick from RBN even more ammunition. And there's a lot of cope going on right now. Like, there are a lot of people criticizing his strategy. Fam, it has nothing to do with strategy. I think a lot of people misunderstand it. Here's Sam Piker, one of the biggest people in the Bernie media industrial complex, who lied and propagandized people about Zohran Mamdani. Because, fam, Zohran Mamdani is not selling you out. Zohran Mamdani, like you said, is not a disappointment, because it was clear who he was from day one. And you guys saying in the chat, I called this motherfucker out months ago. And I'm not talking about months before the election. I mean, I called him out months before he became popular, because I saw an interview where he gave this horrific answer about socialism before he became popular. Oh, this dude's a fucking moron. He don't even know what he like socialism when you empower people to go to the ballot box. I'm like, what the fuck? That's not socialism. But so there was so many red flags about this guy, but people like Hassan Piker ignored them. People like Majority Report ignored them. Kyle Kulinski, Vanguard, all the white bread tube motherfuckers. They did propaganda by ignoring all the red flags and doing nothing but talking about the enemies of Zohran Mamdani. And they were talking about what he actually stands for, what he says. But they were like, oh my God, Zionist meltdown over Zohran Mamdani. Like, bro, are you actually going to talk about what he says? Right. Here's another one. The reason I say this is because people like Hassan Piker saying, man, come on, Zohran, you can't reason with these people. You guys realize that Zohran Mamdani is not reasoning with the Zionists. He's not appealing to the Zionists. He is the Zionist. So what is his job here? His job is to frame the acceptable discussion that is allowed for the left in the United States regarding Zionism. You understand me? His job is to legitimize the anti-Semitism hoax and legitimize Zionist critiques of left-wing framing, trying to remove any pro-Palestinian discussion out of the acceptable Overton window discussion. That's why he condemns Hamas. That's why he condemns From the River to the Sea. He is here to create a suitable CIA left. This is not to appease the Zionists. This is him actually being an agent. And the reason I say this is because this is Sam Piker. He said you can only reason with someone who's confused. He's playing these are cynical smears, any concession, blah, blah. It's not even a concession. This is him doing his job to tone police the left. And what's even sick about this is obviously the strategy to have the Zionists lay off you is not even working. Because the Zionists are still furious at you. Look, here's Dave Portnoy melting down. And if you read Zoran's tweet, there's a ton of Zionists still condemning him.
Yep.
So that's not his strategy is clearly not to win them over, because he's not doing that. His job is to defang the left. His job is to defang, humiliate, and disempower the left and Palestinian movement. Do you guys understand? It has nothing to do with political theory at all. He is actively doing his job. Any other thoughts from Mundell before I continue? I don't want to read this guy's tweet, but Dave Portnoy, a lot of these Zionists, they're melting down as Zoran because they don't give a fuck. I think even they think he's high-key pathetic for throwing his wife under the bus. Yeah, I think even they are looking down at him like, ugh. I thought you would fight inspire us on this a little bit more. But sorry, any other thoughts?
No, that's my last thought. I think it's such an easy question to answer. My wife is my wife, who I love to bits, is a private citizen. If you have questions about my policies, ask me. That's it, and keep pushing. Like, I don't understand why you'd even accept the premises of the question in the first place. I don't understand. I wouldn't. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I do have to go shortly. Yeah.
Your time, man. Let's begin to wrap up. Momodou, anywhere you want to plug? What can they find you? Any final thoughts as we wrap up this segment? Thank you for joining. I appreciate your time as well, man.
No. Thank you. It's just like in Ramadan, timing is a bit tough.
But I understand.
I really appreciate you having me. People can check out my podcast, The Malcolm Effect, or you can purchase my book, The Malcolm Effect Revisited. And other than that, let's do another conversation, man. Let me know when.
I would love to have you on, man. You brought a lot of great takes and discussions. I appreciate
Let me know. Yeah.
Thank you for joining, man. I'll let you go. Thank you. What a great guest that guy was. I'm gonna bring my friend Zoya's Love, Zoya's Life. We got a lot of chats to read tonight. But what does it say that Zohran Mamdani did condemn his wife for supporting the head-chopping Syrian Muslim Zionist? Like, if you're gonna condemn your wife for anything, you condemn her for supporting the head choppers in Syria. You guys know that they're floating. Jelani is floating, sending Syrian troops to help Israel in Lebanon. So if you're gonna bash your motherfucking wife, bash her for that. That's another red flag that should have been obvious that Zohran is not part of your class, because his wife is fucking a Muslim Zionist herself, and that's another reason why Zohran people are kind of really pissed off over the story, because a lot of these Zohran people, they were like gooners for his wife. He married like a Syrian baddie. And they feel like, oh my God, I can't believe, I thought you was a wife guy. I like you because you're a wife guy. That's like a shallow view of politics. Zohran Mamdani is such a wife guy. That's what all the suburban DSA people was doing. They was running propaganda like, man, I love me a wife guy. So fam, these people are in shambles because the guy that they framed as a wife guy just threw his wife under the bus on the national stage. And not even for a good reason. One of the few base states she actually had. Zoya's Love, Zoya's Life. Thank you for joining me on Saturday. That was a great guest. I love Momodou. Great having him back on.
Yeah, he's awesome. And for those who don't know, the Trump administration kicked him out for his Palestinian activism.
Oh, yeah.
He was.
I mentioned that earlier. I made a joke about it earlier, but I've got to officially mention it. But yeah, you gotta know that he was deported by the Trump administration because he's too powerful. He was too fucking powerful.
And he was trying to sue the Trump administration, actually. That's when ICE went after him. So, yeah, great guest.
We're definitely going to do more Saturday shows with him. He was a great guest. Fantastic guest. But Zoe, I'm going to take a quick break. Can you take over for a bit, read some chats? I'll be back in a few minutes. I'll be right back.
CBC voter Nick Cruse, thank you for watching us for all these years. Love seeing all of the familiar handles in the chat. Patrick's, thank you for the $10 supporting the cause. Krista Brackley, thank you for the $4.99. Always look forward to your revolutionary optimism. We definitely need it with so much bad news nowadays. Joseph Massey, super sticker. Thank you for the $4.99 and the support. Mark Puglisi, good to see you again. Thank you for the $5. Nick, we hate his guts so much. We don't want to believe he's dead, and then he comes back. Valid point there. Fog of war, we have to be careful about the accuracy of the news that comes out. J. Cloyd YS1 FM. BB is moderate? Damn, what are the others like? There's a lot of clips you can find on YouTube to hear the rhetoric from people to the right of Netanyahu. Chief Madul, thank you for the $5. Americans protected the war in Vietnam, not even because people were getting killed. Americans only protested because they didn't want to get drafted. That is partly true. I mean, definitely people were fighting the draft, but there was a legitimate peace movement. And that's why Nixon famously said that they started the war on drugs to go after the peaceful protesters. You know, it was the time of the flower children. They were doing acid and they wanted a world of peace. But that movement failed. That's why it's important to be organized and revolutionary. A dingo ate me baby. That is a funny handle. We are fighting a system, not a person or colonial outpost. That is very true and always important to remember. Fractal. Let's not kid ourselves. The bigger problem will remain Zionist Christians. They are a majority of Zionists. They're just a larger population. So that is a great reminder. Mortal 3 Ferrum. Howdy, Nick. Chicago girl. If you oppose the war in Iran and oppose the Epstein criminals, you are better than most. That's how low the bar is. Sadly, that's why it's so important to debunk propaganda and keep doing this work in order to push back on these narratives. Stoner adjacent patriot. It was Americans coming home in body bags. That is why they typically don't show that anymore. And another thing is that during the Vietnam War, they used to show on televisions at home at night for dinner war footage, very brutal war footage. And that turned a lot of people off from the war, which is why they made that illegal. Notice they never show us war footage anymore. Chicago Go Girl. Bro, Trump literally had generals tell the troops that their job was to bring about the end times so Jesus can come back. Laughing my ass off. Yeah, strange times, but this is not the first time that Christianity has been weaponized in order to expand imperialism. There used to be a priest on every slave ship. Justice by karma. Nick always has great people sharing great information, not only being hosted on the show, but speaking out in the chat also. Well said, and Garrison. Yes, thank you. And I love that about Nick. He is always open to pushback and good faith conversation. Sassenach US, good morning, fam. Mouse SF, long live RBN. This is my comment. Some of you in the chat were saying that YouTube is censoring you guys. So just a friendly reminder that YouTube sucks. So make sure to follow Nick on all other platforms, Rumble, Kick, Telegram, X. You want to make sure that in case YouTube decides this content is too edgy, you can still find us. IB Denmark. Idiot Jake Paul. But it is very telling that idiot Jake Paul gets to interview the president.
Can I share you guys something? I wanted to share this earlier. I kind of forgot during the segment, but I want to share it now. I will also, because I didn't want to keep our guests too much longer, but I wanted to share this from Nerdine, just to highlight it. It's outside the segment, but I have to have it for the live stream. So this for at least for the live stream viewers. Because Mamdani was explaining how he condemns any bigotry, and that's not even true. He's a shameless fucking propagandist. This is Nerdine is exposing, and many people are highlighting the fact that he mourned this genocidal rabbi. There's this rabbi. I don't know how to say his name. Metachim Sternizon. Oh no, either way, he's some genocidal rabbi. And this rabbi, this is a quote provided by my friend Nerdine. There are two types of souls that exist. A non-Jewish soul comes from 3 satanic spheres. So he said we all satanic. While the Jewish soul stems from holiness. A Jew was not created as a means for some other purpose. He himself is the purpose. Since the substance of all divine emanations was created only to serve the Jews. This is shit that rabbis say, fam. And then leftists get uncomfortable when I talk about Jewish supremacy. The Zohran Mamdani left gets uncomfortable when you talk about the scourge of Jewish supremacy in their community. And you notice how Zohran Mamdani has no problem with the bigotry of Jewish supremacists and rabbis like this, because he's a fucking whore that is pursuing political power. So he's a hypocrite. So it's not like he's being consistent here. A man that is willing to throw his own wife under the bus in order to achieve political power, imagine what he would do to your ass. What a piece of shit. So he's not even principled on his idea that he stands against all hate. Apparently it's okay if Jewish people hate other people and think of them as lesser. That is what it means to be a racist at its core. To believe that your people, your tribe, your identity is better and everyone else is the lesser. Isn't that the purest form of racism? But Zohran Mamdani has no problem with that. So I didn't include that in the segment, but I had to. I'm beside myself. I didn't bring this up during the segment. But hey, if you're watching this live, you at least caught this point. I might try to include this in my edit of the stream of whenever I make the segment later. I might try to include this part. We see. But Zoe, I'll pass it back to you. I just wanted to include this part because big shout out to my friend Nardine. She's been on the front, bro. Like Palestinians like Nardine has been on the front line calling out Zohran Mamdani, and the amount of hate she received. Don't get me wrong, I received a lot of hate, and this is one of the reasons why I can't stand DSA Zohran Mamdani cold as fucks. Do you guys have any idea how much hate Nardine got for being right about Zohran Mamdani? And this happens every time, Zoya. We talked about this before. How Palestinians will come out whenever there's a new Democrat hero, there will be Palestinians that will come out like, hey, I think this guy is pretty, he has very questionable takes on the issue of Israel-Palestine. We don't like how he condemns the Palestinian resistance. And then they're like, oh, well, look at this fucking wrecker. We got a fucking wrecker. Oh my God. You guys are always using Palestine as a way to hurt the left. So big shout out to Nardine because she's been on our channel a few times. And she is running a vindication victory lap. way more than I am because she deserves it. Like she and many other activists went through hell warning people about Zohran Mamdani in the election. So good for her. And we deserve to rub it in on these people because these people are unserious. They're here to lead the left off a cliff, and they bully anyone who has a platform who don't go along with it. So I don't give a fuck if they get upset with me and bully me. Zoya knows I find it hilarious. I find it hilarious when people are upset at me when I'm right. But I'm also furious when they go after other activists because it's not about me. I see you go after Nardine. I've seen people go after Palestine. All these pro-Palestinian people calling out Zohran Mamdani was attacked viciously. Anyway, I just want to add that point. Zoya, please continue.
Nick, this comment goes along with your point. I purposely flagged it so we can address it. This person and a few others were like, nope, Cope, we live in New York City. Do you live here? We like
Nardine lives in New York.
We like Zohran. He isn't perfect. No, but who is? So I wanted to dismantle and remind people who Mamdani is. Even if you don't see his clear hypocrisy on Israel and Palestine and how he parrots every CIA talking point on Cuba, Venezuela, all of these anti-imperialist forces, and now, of course, Iran. Zohran also supports the building of new prisons and expanding the police state while he's slashing the budgets of libraries. He's a Democrat with edgy rhetoric. That I just flagged my own comment to remind people that even on domestic policy, he's not going to give you guys what he promised. He's not only going to not deliver on the little carrots that he waved in front of you, but he is showing you in his domestic policy that he supports the establishment. He is doing what every Democrat does and just fooling you guys into thinking that he's different. This is controlled opposition. This is Bernie Sanders. It's the repeat of the same cycle, and you guys are still falling for it. Watch his policies, watch his actions, not what you want him to be, not what you hope he would turn out to be.
Zoya's love, Zoya's life. I tell you guys, man. Zoya used to light these clowns up in spaces back in the day. You guys don't want to tell you, man. But if you are one of the people who still look up to politicians as heroes, as a celebrity, you got a long way to go. And I sincerely hope that my education, if not my education, someone reaches you one day. Because I promise you, fam, that person who got defensive over Zoran, you're gonna look back at this maybe in like 5 years, 10 years, and you're gonna be embarrassed. I'm trying to save you guys from that embarrassment of being that guy who defended an obvious sellout. I'm trying to get the left to the position where we stop wasting our motherfucking time and resources on bullshit. You guys realize that so many people will donate to Zohran Mamdani that he had to send out advertisements and emails begging people not to donate to him? Zoya, do you know how fucking crazy that is? That in a time where working class people are struggling, people who consider themselves on the United States left will donate to a dipshit politician who is taking money from Jewish supremacist donors? Like I showed you guys, he took money from he took PAC money. I thought we were supposed to be against that. Despite taking money from Jewish supremacist donors, he literally still took money from the working class and they wasted it on things that could have been used building another party, providing shelter for people, providing housing, wasted. And for what? To get some fucking mayor that condemns his wife? You guys are not even getting free buses. I used to make a joke. Zoya, you know the job, like, man, you guys sold out the Palestinians for free buses. They haven't even got that. There's someone in New York, like, you know, by the way, we haven't got that yet. So what did you guys sell out the Palestinians for? What you put off building another party for a year and a half for what? We don't got time for this shit forever for you guys to do the same bullshit. Falling for another AOC in 2025 is embarrassing. And I'm tired of pretending it's not. So yeah, please continue.
Mamdani was doing homeless sweeps, just like Eric Adams. But yes, he did say more compassionate things. So I guess you guys just want the same policies, but with someone making them sound nicer and making you feel better about them.
Yeah, very well said. Oh, can I share this too, Zoya, since we're just having fun now? Look at this. Look at this. I wish I could have included this in my Netanyahu segment because they have the Security Council meeting that's apparently happening today. And this would have been the big moment to reveal if Netanyahu is not dead. Look at this, fam. I just saw this. That's why I haven't put this on screen. Look at this. Look, usually it is Netanyahu who presides over security meetings. So isn't it interesting that Netanyahu just so happened to be missing from this one? I thought that was interesting. I really hope this motherfucker is dead. I really do. And not official, you never know. But what I think is going to happen, I think Israel is delaying the announcement for maybe 10 days to 14 days because he don't want to provide that massive propaganda defeat for the Israeli Zionist regime. And they know that will rally the world behind Iran, the likes we never seen before. They will never, like, Zionists are not ready for the massive propaganda defeat that is at their hands after it's revealed that Bibi Netanyahu got smoked in the war that he advocated for 40 years. So what they're doing, this is my thought. This is theory. I'm not saying that this is definitive. But my theory is that they're planning on delaying the announcement of Netanyahu's death for about 10 to 14 days, which is why they created an AI video to at least ease the concern of their populace. Then in about 2 weeks, they're going to announce that Benjamin Netanyahu died due to undiagnosed health issues. They're going to say he had like some health aneurysm, undisclosed cancer or something like that. They're gonna sell it as if he died from natural causes in order to prevent the massive propaganda blow and the complete moral deflating revelation to their people that Netanyahu got snuffed out. That's my thoughts. Once again, these are just theories. I am probably getting a little bit too optimistic. I will admit that. They don't get our hopes up. These are just theories. I really hope I'm not. It just seems the evidence is overwhelming. I really did held off on a while from doing this stream, but it's overwhelming that at least something happened to him. There's rumors that he may be in a coma. He at least got fucked up. Something is going on. Zoya, please.
So we have FFFTT6YO. Half naked women is freedom to the West. Yes, they have definitely weaponized Western feminism to justify murdering women in other countries. Another super chat from Mark Puglisi. Thank you for the $2. The CIA stirred the mullahs up against Mossadegh. Yes, for those who don't know, Iran initially elected a socialist leader, and the CIA couldn't have that. So they're the ones that installed the Shah regime. Linda Lincoln, we have children that can't eat. That was in regards to the discussion of how Western societies don't provide for parents anymore. That's why people aren't having children. Justice by karma. Nick, 100% facts on that. MAGA and liberals have a lot in common, just like the duopoly that fights against them every day. But they are just.
Sorry, but I used to tell people. I used to tell my conservative co-workers that all the time. I'm like, bro, you guys are just like liberals. Like, it's just a different shade. Like, whenever they talk about and sell their imperialism, they sound, oh, we're gonna liberate the Iranian people. Okay, fucking shit lib. That's what MAGA says. Donald Trump is essentially a Clintonite. He's a globalist Clintonite. I used to laugh at MAGA, like, bro, you guys are literally supporting a guy you guys call a globalist. They use the term globalism to hide the fact that they are supporting the same neoliberal worldwide agenda. But in order to prevent a critique of capitalism, they make up some bullshit and, oh, we gotta fight globalism. Bro, your boy Trump is a globalist. And they all have the same ideology, they have the same beliefs. And it's very cringe when they pretend otherwise. It's very cringe when MAGA people are like, we gotta defeat the socialist Joe Biden. Like, go fuck yourself.
The wealth gap and war has increased under every single administration, Republican and Democrat alike. They just like to distract you guys with culture wars. A dingo ate my baby. The West has been brainwashed in the bourgeoisie ideology. Absolutely. Kukul con man. Even Mexico, you get medical leave after birth. Yeah, we're the wealthiest country on earth, but for some reason we can't afford to provide basic social services for our citizens like much poorer countries. Billy Joe. Yes, the economists of the 1980s pushed traditional caring structures out the window. It started before that, but it was a slow roll and erosion of society. At first, with USSR during the Cold War, USSR was providing so many social benefits to their people that the US had to fight back by giving social benefits to their people. And as the USSR collapsed, they no longer have to bribe you guys to be anti-communist and keep up the charade.
Very well, Zoe.
AOHT06. The current version of feminism is just a propaganda tool of the capitalist class. Yes, absolutely. See, we have so many based people in the chats. Brian Hode, RBN is live. Great show, Nick. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Please make sure to like and share the stream. We are heavily suppressed. Julian.
Oh, yeah, well, I don't know if we want to announce it now, but I know we were looking for a project where we hire more writers at RBN. Maybe we should wait to announce it. But I want like people like Momodou will be perfect for it to help us restart RBN Substack. And we got a lot of base people in the community. I guess I'm playing out there early that we, as RBN is rebuilding, because RBN is explicitly a communist organization led by my homie Rome. We're gonna look for more writers. We're gonna start Substack. Eventually have some comrades host some show on RBN. We got a big community. I want to feature more of your guys' voices. So that's the new era of RBN ahead of us. But we still got a lot of planning to do on that. Maybe we need to set up. We need to do something where we have people email us they're interested in helping our Substack or they want to be part of our new RBN broadcast team. The only thing is, guys, we are explicitly a communist organization. We're not doing that liberal bullshit no more. So it's for communists only. Like if you're a communist, you want to write, you need if you want a platform, we want to have communists write for RBN Substack. Maybe host like a sideshow where up and coming communist thinkers on our channel. These are all the future of RBN. We have a lot of ideas. Maybe we'll announce it officially here later, but we would love to hear more from you guys.
If you guys are interested, you can email us at revblacknetwork@outlook.com. So if you guys are interested in becoming a writer or joining the RBN community, prerequisite is you have to be a communist, but go ahead and send in your emails and we will touch base with you from there. Julia Damaso, save the children, save the women are bad faith BS. It's a Trojan horse. Yes, one the empire's been using for a long time. Topher, liberating them from life. What a joke. Yes, exactly. Bombing women is never going to liberate them. Austin NP, they will say Bibi is dead just so he emerges later saying he is the Jewish Messiah. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Please don't let that be true. I will crash out live on stream.
Yeah, I literally just wanted to make the joke with that comment. Kristen Olmonte, we gave depleted uranium rounds to Zelensky. Yes, and that's a horrible war crime because years after wars are over, it's mostly children that find these depleted uranium rounds that haven't exploded and get killed or maimed.
I have another victory announcement for the resistance. Look at this. So even if Netanyahu is that rat is still alive, as I mentioned with that extreme rabbi who got smoked earlier, we still got victories, guys. Like Israel's still being denazified as we speak, even if Netanyahu is alive, and it's only going to get worse. Iran has made it clear they are not negotiating anytime soon, and they are not negotiating until the state of Israel is destroyed. The Zionist entity no longer exists as it is today. And look, here's a victory. If you got skeptical about Netanyahu, we got a lot of one. Here's another one. You have this Major General Ori Gordon, a senior officer in the IDF Defense Forces, was recently killed in Metella by 5 p.m. today. Another significant setback for Israel. So Netanyahu is still up in the air, but these people are being smoked out as we speak. So I just want to share some announcements there. Go ahead.
Yeah, I like this flow we got going. You're checking for breaking news as we're going through the chats.
Yeah, I love this new format we have. I love it.
Don Hooligan, yes. Colonizer legalism is a web of deceit that ultimately makes the colonizers escape justice. So well said. And that's why we can't depend on any Western institutions like the UN or the ICC. They only make laws to oppress people and absolve them of their crimes. Gone. Many of those African leaders were in the employ of the CIA. That's because every time that Africa got a revolutionary leader, they were murdered or deposed. A dingo ate my baby. They even see white Slavic people as less than human. Yes, they have no consistent ideology. Imperialism depends heavily on a supremacist ideology because otherwise, how do you justify stealing the land of people and genociding them? It always relies on some sort of supremacist ideology.
This man's name was a dingo ate my baby.
Yeah, I was laughing about that too.
That boy Dingo's in the Epstein file. But anyway, you guys see the reporting I'm saying? So I explained to you guys before, I will never purposely mislead you guys. I'll frame this whole stream as a what if he's dead. That's why I called it death rumors. I'm not here to mislead you guys. I'm giving you guys all the information that I have available. But look, this is fucking crazy. Netanyahu missing at Israeli security meetings. Everyone is freaking out about this. So So yeah, please continue. I think we can use this time also for me to like share some breaking stuff I see too as you read the comments. Go ahead, Zoe.
Yeah, it's perfect. They get all the latest. Austin NP, they don't call it the graveyard of empires for nothing. Yes, for people who don't know history, don't mess with Iran. Fine weather. Nick is so bright. I'm not sure if they're saying that you're intelligent or just shiny, but I endorse both statements. Justice by Karma. Great and amazing guest you have today, Nick. Yes, we love Momodou.
Yeah, we definitely gotta have him back on. He's gonna be a Saturday guest regular, just like Jody is.
Top JJ, great points, Momodou. Yes, he's very well spoken. The Church 5000. China could have hurt Israel big time by cutting ties and did nothing, though, Nick. I wanted to address this one. We're in a global economy now, and the whole mission statement of China is to build parallel structures that are not like the West, that don't operate based on ideology, but create stability throughout the world based on trade and mutual benefits. They cannot start sanctioning countries and still be true to that ideology, because then they will just be behaving like the West. And it's tough for us to watch because we want revolutionary action, but we also forget that we're always on the precipice of World War III and a nuclear war at that. That's why they're provoking Russia and China. And the billionaire class doesn't give a fuck. They have their bunkers. Their Ponzi scheme money doesn't even mean anything. They would love an excuse to wipe out trillions of dollars of debt. So we're the ones that would get hurt by any escalation. So Russia and China have to be strategic in how they do things. We can't expect them to be reactionary. They've been building and planning for this over decades, and now they're executing things. Look at the demand Iran just made for transactions in the Strait of Hormuz to be settled in yuan. Do you understand what a devastating financial hit that would be to American systems without a single bullet being fired? So they are moving in a strategic way, even though it's difficult for us to endure all of these live stream genocides and the horror of a dying empire. But we have to at least acknowledge that they do have a strategy.
Yeah, and like I really need people to think this kind of stuff out, like geopolitically. Where does this line of thinking ends? Because as Zoya mentioned, once again, that was a fantastic statement, Zoe. Zoya is extremely bright on these geopolitical issues. But does China engage in economic blockade of Europe in the EU? Because the EU and UAE, they are supporting the genocide in Sudan. Do China stop trade with the United States after murdering millions of Iraqis? So China, they're playing 5D chess while reactionary leftists are playing checkers. Like, let's play this out. China engages in the economic blockade against Israel. Do you think the UK and the United States is going to be okay with that? Then they retaliate against China. Then we got a trade war. Now the Chinese people are suffering. Now the American people are suffering. And they would do this for what? Why? Because we failed to hold Zionism accountable in the West? I saw a comment earlier. I didn't get a chance to put it up there. But it's not the job of China to fight our battle for us. It's not their job to make the United States look more palpable. It's not here to reign in Zionism. That's our job. And I explained it many times on the channel before. I get annoyed whenever people try to pass the buck on to China and Russia as if it's their job to resist the genocidal ideology that's coming from the West. It's their job to provide for their people and their people only, and to navigate the international order that is created because we as Western people fail to hold our genocidal government accountable. So I find it very cringe when you guys are just looking for a reason to criticize Russia and China. I'm not saying they're above criticism, but if you're in the West, why the fuck are you just looking for, oh, I'm looking for a reason to condemn Russia and China? Does that make you feel better? This doesn't go to the, I don't have any problem if you're like Palestinian and you cursing the world order. I think that's legitimate. If you're a Palestinian in Gaza, you feel like the world betrayed you, okay. But if you're a fucking fat ass American living in Jersey talking about, oh, why ain't China doing nothing to stop Israel? Shut the fuck up and go bomb a fucking military industrial complex site or something. Like, what are you guys doing? That you guys expect Russia and China to make these massive sacrifices when you're not even willing to make a sacrifice? I guess it's because I'm a revolutionary and not just some armchair quarterback academic. Because armchair academics who don't actually do anything, they love criticizing the global South, and people are victims of imperialism because it's just a game to them. They're just here to be professional critiquers. But if you're a revolutionary in the imperial core, it's a waste of your brain cells and your time to spend your time. Oh, I'm gonna condemn Iran for this. I'm gonna condemn China for this. I'm gonna condemn Russia for that. What do you get from this? Okay, that's my point. Zoya did a great breakdown, but that's what do you guys even get from this? It doesn't make sense. But please continue, Zoya.
Yeah, I wanted to add a little bit on the UN vote as well. So the UN resolution that was condemning Iran, that Russia and China abstained from, there was no way for them to win by voting whether it was no or yes, because if they vote not to condemn Iran against the resolution, they're saying that when you have a conflict with the country, it's okay to attack their bases in foreign countries. This would immediately get weaponized against them, and Russian and Chinese bases would be bombed elsewhere. They're between a rock and a hard place in a rigged game. And because the whole institution is a farce, we don't need to demand them to vote a certain way, because all of this would just set legal precedents that would be used against them. So once you understand it's rigged, stop demanding them to do these things that are just virtue signaling and for show. They're giving critical support by sending actual aid, doctors, financial support, and weapons. That is solidarity. That is material. That's why we have to look at things materially.
Zoya is love. Zoya is life, my friends.
Sean Rockets TV, thank you for the $5 super sticker. We got a few more super chats. 6-pack for me, thank you for the $2. Mamdani is wearing a tiny hat. Fuck my life. How much more do you guys need?
I don't know why the super chat's so fucking funny to me.
I told Nick before, I can't talk shit about hats because Russians, and I'm Russian, have a lot of funny hats themselves. I stay out of the hat chats.
That's hilarious.
Focus 6016. Thank you so much for the $100. Buying Nick some groceries. Found your channel through Savvy. Yeah, for real. Thank you for waking people up. And
Big shout out to Focus. Show Focus on love in the chat. I appreciate you guys for supporting my labor. And I wish the best of luck to Savvy. I have nothing against Savvy at all. Hope she continues to do well.
And thank you to Savvy for the shout out. Zaldivar 2590, thank you for the $5. Trump is very close to the Clintons. Bill Clinton plays a mean saxophone, but Trump showed him many times that he knows how to play the flute. You guys are making me read some funny super chats.
How dare you? How dare you? Are you implying that our president is a homosexual?
Well,
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and I heard he likes them young. The people Dinfinite. Thank you for the $2. How can I study up on communist ideas? Backlist, thanks. Honestly, the easiest place to start is Jody Brar, Jotibrar. And she has a YouTube and she posts on Twitter. So just look up Jody Brar. Her father was a legendary communist from India. He wrote, and the UK. He wrote many incredible literary pieces that address the current climate that we're living through. So that is a perfect starting place.
Another thing you can do, and I spent a lot of time doing this when I was first getting into theory, like State and Revolution is a great place to start. That was like, I was hooked after reading that. And there are also a lot of like audio books on YouTube. If you have a hard time getting through and reading theory, because it can be like heavy, it can be taxing to read a lot of theory. So like pick up and read a lot of audiobooks I see on YouTube. I listened to a ton of, like, when I was doing household chores or whatever. I would like listen to, like, this like years ago. I was obsessed with listening to a lot of these communist audiobooks, and also like lectures from communists. Like Kwame Ture, listen to his lectures. Like there's so many lectures on YouTube you can find of him. And then once you listen to one, you fuck your algorithm up. You get a ton of communist content. So start there, and then once you start getting the communist information, that way you can start going through reading lists. There's still a lot more I can read too. Like it's almost never ending. The information that is out there. I always try to stay on top of it. I'm not one of those advocates where people are, oh, well, you don't have. I think we need to equip ourselves. I think we need to take responsibility for our destiny. Yes, we are against heavy odds, an unfair system, but the best we can do is better ourselves, strengthen our body, strengthen our mind. So I dislike the left that, like, they tend to discount theory. I don't need theory, man. I live my life, bro. Have you ever heard those people? I don't need theory, bro. I live my life, bro. I live a hard life, bro. I don't need theory. I know the streets. Them. We need a proper roadmap, and we need to analyze struggle as a science. And I'm not saying I'm perfect at it. I never, Zoya, you know, I've never said I'm like an expert at theory. I'm still learning shit every day, and that's the process. And when you're revolutionary, you consistently learn and you consistently grow. You guys know that Black Panthers, they had monthly theory readings. They wasn't just vibing. It's a science. And if you are serious about class struggle, and you're serious about socialism and communism, I'm sorry to gatekeep here, because I know it can be annoying, but you're not really a socialist, you're not really a communist unless you're deep into theory and consistently learning from it. Because I still have a lot to learn. I see people quote some theory sometimes. I'm like, damn, I didn't read that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's still shit you got to read. Like, almost impossible. And if you're not taking that seriously, you're just kind of a fan of the ideology, which is okay. If you don't have time, it's okay. But I think if you're actually going to be a revolutionary part of an organization, you have to equip yourself. And that's what I've done for years. I equipped myself with knowledge for years and years and years. That's the end. This is the end result. The product that you see on my channel is years of study, and I still just scratching the surface, Brett. I am not a Marxist expert. I'm a study. I am a apprentice of Marxism, I believe. I'm still a young buck, learning from our great revolutionary leaders of the past and a lot of great intellectuals of today. And I implore you guys to go down the same path. You don't have to, obviously, you don't have to be a citizen journalist. You don't have to create a YouTube channel and do what I do, but you will find it spiritually enriching to be in a never-ending pursuit of knowledge. And that's why I highly recommend it for all. Do not buy the lazy liberal bullshit. I don't have to read. I just buy, bro. No, we're not doing that no more. So I'm glad that this guy left his comment so we can plug it. And I really hope you follow through on that. And I really hope you do. I'm rooting for you.
Sparky, thank you for the $20. On anti-intellectualism, Mark Twain was amazing. Quote, the trouble with the world is not that people know too little. It's that they know so many things that just ain't so. He was calling it out in the 1800s. It's cultural rot. And that's absolutely true. I think it's important for us to maintain nuance because it is a huge impediment to organizing, to have gatekeeping and to have an uneducated populace. So we have to remember that most successful revolutions were organized with many illiterate peasants, and they didn't read any theory. So their lived experience did inform them that they are in a class war. They knew they're being oppressed. They knew that their conditions materially were not what they should be. And that is enough to fire people up to fight in the revolution. But at the same time, we need a revolutionary vanguard in order to mobilize those people. And that revolutionary vanguard absolutely has to read. It absolutely has to be educated, because we have to know which way we're leading people. But the ultimate guiding compass, as Fred Hampton said, was that we must love the people. If we just center our understanding of communism on the fact that we love the people, because the capitalist class does not love the people. It is against the people. It is a parasite. It is an enemy of the people. It is an exploiter of the people. So we must love the people. So you start there by going into your communities and showing that solidarity and love with the people. And that's how we build. And that's how we get people learning and reading. And that's why socialist countries have 99% literacy rates, because we want people to come to that education by learning what communism is through our actions. That's what Lenin said, to not talk down to people, but to go into communities and show them communism in practice. And that's all for our for our super chats today, socialist super chats.
Yeah, let's begin to wrap up. I appreciate it. We always have fun time. I like this new post show discussion we have in a way. Hope you guys enjoy as well. We have my friends the homeless left join me on Monday. I think I just saw super chat just came in. Then the check. I appreciate all the super chats. We got a big show for super chats this week. I appreciate you guys. Good stuff here, regardless if we disagree at times. Very well said. Thank you. Thank you for watching Monday show. I have my friends the homeless left. Sorry, Zoya. Go ahead.
One more. They love us too much. GeoBot9K, thank you for the $5. Luna Oy has amazing free theory ebooks translated from Vietnamese. Searching for Banyan House books should bring up her site. Thank you so much for that tip.
Yeah, I interviewed Luna Oy a few times. She's a good comrade. She's the one who taught me a lot about Vietnam. I like Luna. Thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna end it here. On Monday, I'll be back on the homeless left. My friend Pasta and Matt, they do great citizen journalist work as well. And we had a great conversation like a few weeks ago. So I'm gonna bring them back on Monday. Got a lot of banger guests coming up. A lot of plans for the show. My friend Dr. Sabrina also coming back here soon. I appreciate you guys for watching. We got a lot of great content coming up, and we got a lot of plans that you guys as you guys heard about the future of RBN. And how we want to get you guys involved. But we will announce more details on that later. Appreciate you guys for watching. Have a great weekend, guys. Take care.